GamerSpawn.
You know you could have been a wonder, taking your surges to the sky. You couldn't take it on the tightrope. No, you had to take it on the side.
Among games that have influenced the entertainment industry, it's difficult to find a series with more profound of an impact than Grand Theft Auto. Seemingly embroiled in perpetual controversy, the franchise has nonetheless risen from humble beginnings to unparalleled success, much like the game's protagonists in their seedy criminal underworld.
If he squeals, I squeal!
Giving meaning to the term sandbox gameplay, Rockstar has created increasingly large and intricate cities and sprawling regions for gamers to explore. Whether it was the glitzy streets of Vice City or the weathered barrios of San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto has always had a story to tell and a world to breathe life into. But even more importantly, the games have let us tell our own stories, go our own way, beat our own path through living, wide-open urban centers. In addition to the series' immeasurable impact on the gaming industry, it's constantly found itself at the center of political turmoil.
Using Grand Theft Auto 3 as a murder and carjacking simulator to train teens.
Since the games follow the life stories of various fictional criminals rise to prominence, they've attracted the attention and ire of groups who feel the games' perceived depravity will contribute to society's moral decline. From the early GTA days, the game attracted negative publicity. In fact, the first game's publicist intentionally sought controversy with the media in order to promote the game's sales. It worked, and the games have been in the spotlight ever since. Even if you've never played a Grand Theft Auto game, you've certainly felt the repercussions of the iconic series. Ever since the series' popularity exploded, other developers and publishers have tried to emulate the franchise's trademark non-linearity and branching storylines. Before GTA, games were often restrictively narrow. But after the games began to make a splash, many companies have begun to emphasize freedom of choice in their games. Whatever your opinion of the series and its often crude and potentially offensive content, it's clear that we wouldn't have the games we do today without GTA.
This is also a graphic engineering department. Ignore the name on the board.
In 1988, a small development studio called DMA Design was formed, pushing out a few smaller titles before releasing its first major hit, Lemmings, in 1990. Before the Grand Theft Auto series, for which the studio is now famous, DMA also created a few games for Nintendo platforms, such as Uniracers for the Super Nintendo, as well as Body Harvest and Space Station Silicon Valley for the Nintendo 64. These N64 titles, while nowhere near as successful as the GTA games would become, are notable in that they contain many of the basic mechanics that underlie modern GTA games. Hijacking vehicles, or in Silicon Valley's case, animals, in order to complete varied objectives, as well as a slightly open mission structure would later become the staple mechanic of GTA. An early design document for Race and Chase, the game that would later become Grand Theft Auto, reads, "The aim of Race and Chase is to produce a fun, addictive, and fast multiplayer car racing and crashing game which uses a novel graphics method." That sentence, intended to sum up the gameplay concept of the first game, doesn't of course begin to cover what the series has become. But it was a starting point, one of which developer DMA Design, now Rockstar North, would launch the monolithic franchise to stardom. As the first game's launch approached, DMA couldn't have known how far-reaching the effects of their hybrid action-driving game would be.
And unity. And unity.
Though the first Grand Theft Auto started a franchise that would prove to stand the test of time, the game is almost unrecognizable when compared with modern iterations of the series. While later GTA games would focus on immersive worlds and engaging stories, the original wasn't much more than a free-roaming quest for a high score. The game employed multipliers based on how many missions the player completed within each level, with every completion making it easier to rack up points. Once the player amassed 1,000,000 points, the game advanced to the next level. It was closer to the gameplay of any number of arcade games than it was anything like the Grand Theft Auto of today. The game featured a top-down camera which limited the player's field of view but provided the greatest level of freedom possible on the hardware then available. Featuring an open but sometimes sparse city for the player to explore, the game did provide a higher level of freedom to the player than most of the other games of the era. The player was often required to determine the best route to the mission objective, rather than follow a preset mission path, as was common practice in game design. Grand Theft Auto also included a multiplayer feature, a feature that was eventually dropped for a number of years after Grand Theft Auto 2. However, with a strong modding scene on the PC, fans have kept the GTA multiplayer tradition alive throughout all the 3D series entries. The first entry in the acclaimed franchise wasn't a big hit with critics. GameSpot was mildly appreciative of the instantly accessible fun, saying, GTA is a good game that is highly recommended at a bargain price, but won't win any awards. Wannabe sociopaths who can deal with the shortcomings will have a lot of fun. Entertainment Weekly was less enthusiastic, with a one-paragraph review that trashed the game with lines like, "Dragging citizens out of their cars and beating them is as monotonous as it is discomforting, leaving you with outdated graphics and a game that's guilty but hardly a pleasure." The publication assigned the game an F grade, but overall, reviewers recognized the enjoyment to be had with the game's addictive action-based point system. Thanks in part to some controversy drummed up by the game's publicist, GTA sold strongly enough to spin off a sequel, one that would bring tweaks, upgrades, and improvements aplenty to the action-driving formula without making any major changes. Additionally, the first title received several ports, making appearances on both the original PlayStation console and the Game Boy Color.
Listen, right, we're looking for a lad who can do his stuff. I've heard you're a bit tasty. No messing around or you get a slap. Remember, I'm the monkey and you're the cheese grater, so no messing around.
DMA also continued to support the game's release by providing 2 additional content expansion packs, London 1969 and London 1961. If the game left one major legacy, it was that it provided the framework upon which DMA would build the future games of the franchise. Though it wasn't as deep in its mechanics or as wide in its scope as the series entries that would follow, it was enough of a unique take on the driving genre to resonate with gamers worldwide. The open-ended storylines, branching missions, and totally free exploration of now classic games like Grand Theft Auto 3 may never have seen the light of day if not for the advances the GTA team made with the first game. While the gameplay doesn't hold up as well as some other games of the era due to the technical limitations of the time, Rockstar has made the PC version of the game available as a free download on the company's website. It's definitely worth a download and playthrough for any gamer interested in a hands-on history lesson on the origin of the franchise.
In the city, respect is everything.
Having a moderate success on their hands with GTA, the growing team at DMA Design was faced with the unenviable task of following up the first game with a new and improved sequel. Instead of throwing away all the work done on the debut title, the developers elected to instead refine and build upon the framework of the first game. The graphics, sound, and gameplay would all receive enhancements.
remember, respect is everything.
In an interview with Firing Squad given before the game's release, DMA's designers said, apart from the basic game idea, a freeform criminal romp through a massive urban hell, everything needed reworking, and it all has been. Everything has been technically improved, so that even if the mechanism is the same as in the original game, the technical execution is far slicker.
Osmosis, reaching the parts you did not know you had.
She's the only antidote for radio jocks, playing all the cool tunes. It's Mama Doll. Okay, I'm taking this one inside for all you sex heads out there. Ultra Cinjack for my top.
This emphasis on simply making GTA again but with a slicker execution was evident in the final release. And while the first game targeted the PC and PlayStation console, the sequel would broaden the franchise's horizons with a Dreamcast port a few months after launch. If Grand Theft Auto was a risky experiment in open game design for the driving genre, Grand Theft Auto 2 was a further exploration of those same goals. The second game in the franchise fleshed out more fully the core gameplay ideas of the first. The scope was broader with a wider range of available mission types. The city was busier and much larger, with more realistic and active pedestrians. The graphics and sound were improved significantly, with more detailed texture work beautifying the city significantly. Perhaps most notably in terms of the series' evolution, the story started to incorporate multiple gangs, each of which the player could complete different missions for. This emphasis on gang warfare meant actions actually had consequences. If you fought for a certain gang, rivals would see you as a threat and start actively attempting to gun you down.
All kinds of chaos down there. The word of the street says if you don't have to travel, then stay home. And listen with me, Sammy Starrock.
Sammy Starrock comes from the School of Hard Knocks.
This is the downtown where they're coming after this track.
In tune with the theme of having the player's actions actually matter, cops started to play a much more prominent role in GTA 2. From more attentive patrol cars that would begin pursuit of the player once he started misbehaving, to heavier weaponry like tanks and armored cars, the police weren't to be messed with in GTA's sequel.
We'll be auctioning off some beanie later, so you all keep listening, you understand? I've just had a call from Jolene over at the trailer park there, and she's made...
Despite smoothing out many of the bumps and potholes of the first franchise entry, GTA 2 wasn't a huge leap in gameplay. It was more eminently playable and less frustrating to be sure, but it still clung tightly to its old school roots. Because of this, the gameplay didn't evolve much past the action-oriented arcade experience of the first game, but rather gave fans of the series a whole new set of cars to fool around with, and a whole lot of city to fool around in.
Starrock is stellar, betting spoons like Uri Geller.
Grand Theft Auto 2's refined approach improved its standing with critics considerably. GameSpot wrote, Grand Theft Auto 2 delivers in all the same areas as its predecessors, while fixing a couple of the annoying little problems and adding a touch of depth in the process. IGN's reviewer said, there's nothing innovative, nothing that creative, and it's not going to win any awards, but I find it addictive, entertaining, and challenging, and isn't that why we all play games in the first place? GTA 2 sold incredibly well, building off the success its predecessor had achieved for DMA design. The increased focus on a multi-platform release was especially helpful in ensuring the long-term viability of the fledgling franchise. The first Grand Theft Auto established the series. The second expanded the fanbase and gained respect for the series in the console market. With the number of console and handheld releases creeping up with each GTA release, the game hinted at the console focus Rockstar would have in the coming years. Despite the complete redesign the series was about to undergo with the next game in the series, the sequel's contributions to GTA still aren't forgotten. An expanded sense of scale and a deeper objective system are series staples to this day. Rockstar has also made GTA 2 freely available to download on its site for anyone interested in this little gem of gaming history. Coming off the commercial and critical success of the second Grand Theft Auto entry, Rockstar opted to take advantage of the rapidly advancing graphics hardware available to game developers.
These tough guys, what it means to be a tough guy. If he squeals, I squeal.
You're an efficient killer. I like that in a man. with me, you get a lot of bang for your buck.
I see nothing but good things for you, my boy. Anything you want.
The next GTA game would make the leap into full three-dimensional gameplay, detailing a fully explorable 3D city for gamers to delve into. It was the biggest change for the series to date.
The police and emergency services deal with the aftermath of a devastating attack on a police convoy this morning.
In a 2001 pre-release interview, DMA Designs Les Benzies said, "When we were designing ideas for Grand Theft Auto 3, the ideas evolved very naturally out from the original Grand Theft Auto games, which set new levels of freedom in terms of interactivity, freedom, and non-linearity. The challenge and goal with this game was to take all of the freedom and diversity of the earlier 2D, top-down games and bring it into a living, breathing 3D world."
When identification of the missing felons were further hampered by an attack by computer hackers on police headquarters databases. With the Porter Tunnel project falling behind schedule, this disaster leaves Portland isolated from the rest of the city.
Señor Dickhead, it's no problem to kill you. Aye, get lost.
In addition to the revolutionary move to 3D space, GTA 3 would establish a new standard for sandbox game structures, allowing players to dedicate as much or as little time to the main storyline as they felt compelled to.
Hey folks, it's Andy, riding on the Lips 106 airwaves. Today, I'm gonna play some sassy ladies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Here's a taste for you.
This fluid mission structure would dominate Grand Theft Auto's design for the next decade, as well as become a huge influence on the entire action genre. DMA also hoped the new engine would allow for more complex combat, driving, and mission objectives, taking the series' gameplay to the next level as players progress through the story.
Flashback FM, where every night's a dance party.
The game marked a shift not only in gameplay but also in the series' target audience, as the modern PlayStation 2 console was targeted for launch, while PC and Xbox ports would follow over the next several years. A team of close to 24 people worked on the game for much of its development, working with publisher Rockstar's New York office to bring the game to completion. Though the series had already sold over 4 million copies at the time, just before launch it was impossible for DMA to know just how significant an impact their work would have on the gaming landscape. They would soon find out. True to its design objectives, Grand Theft Auto 3 remained faithful to the Grand Theft Auto formula while expanding upon the series' core mechanical concepts. Nearly every rule the franchise had created was broken and then rebuilt to a higher standard.
You did good back there, kid.
The storyline was moved into the spotlight, though players were still never forbidden from doing whatever they wanted in place of playing through the plot. And rather than settling for mindless and murderous joyrides as in the more archaic GTA 1 and 2, players could simply cruise and enjoy the sights of Liberty City, or stage elaborate vehicular stunts with the new engine. Still, the meat of the gameplay was the branching missions in the game's main storyline. Featuring deeper, more complex objectives than the first two games, GTA 3's missions also boasted fully voice-acted cutscenes, an element that would become standard for all core GTA titles to come.
Well, I got news for you. Shooting you will be a pleasure, but dating you was only business. You are muy pequeñito.
Telling the story of a small-time criminal's betrayal at the hands of his girlfriend and his subsequent road to redemption and eventually revenge, the game took the concept of storytelling further than DMA had ever done before.
I'm not to be trusted. Kill the idiot!
Following the lead of GTA 2, the first 3D Grand Theft Auto also featured several gangs the player could do dirty work for as well as fight against over the course of the story. The game also achieved its design goals of making huge technical leaps past prior GTA titles. The final build of the new renderware engine was stunning, drawing gamers into the story and action like never before. The city packed tons of detailed content and secrets that gamers could uncover for hours on end. creating an environment more believable and lifelike than the vast majority of games at the time. Grand Theft Auto 3 had transformed the series into a modern third-person driving shooter hybrid, and the later games have been at the forefront of the genre ever since.
Too long and they need to be taught some respect. Lips Forelli is stuffing his fat face in his...
Around the time of the game's PlayStation 2 release, the critics started to weigh in. Their response was nearly unanimous. Grand Theft Auto 3 was one of the best games ever released. Eurogamer's review declared, GTA 3 is a luscious, sprawling epic of a game, and one of the most complete experiences I have ever encountered. If this is one I've waited a year to see on my PlayStation 2, then I would have waited 10. The official PlayStation magazine was also impressed, calling the game the most innovative, outlandish, brilliant video game ever seen. At the end of 2001, publications began to pile on the awards, with many naming it their Game of the Year. After the dust settled, it became clear that Grand Theft Auto 3 achieved more success than DMA and Rockstar ever could have dreamed. In 2001, it was the best-selling video game in the US. In 2002, it lost first place to Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, but managed to secure the enviable #2 sales spot for the country. Now, more than 10 years since the game's release, the game has sold roughly 20 million copies across all its various platforms, having seen builds for the PC, Xbox, Mac, and smartphones.
Experience has taught me that a man like you can be very loyal for the right price.
As an industry landmark, it's impossible to overstate exactly how much impact Grand Theft Auto 3 has had on games and entertainment as a whole. From Rockstar's own Bully, Manhunt, and Red Dead series to other franchises like Saints Row, Red Faction, and Crackdown, the first 3D GTA entry has had immeasurable influence on the games we play. The game pushed the boundaries of its genre and forced other developers to rethink their approach to designing video games of all sorts.
Let me celebrate, okay? Here's my boy.
How you doing, Pop?
You got yourself a good woman yet? Hey, your mother, God bless her soul, would be turning over in her grave to see you without a wife.
I know, Pop. I'm working on it.
Tony! How's your mama? She's a great woman, you know. Strong. Firenze.
She's good. Fine.
Terrific, terrific. Now listen, you guys, you go inside while I talk to our new friend here. I see nothing but good things for you, my boy.
After a series of buyouts, ownership of DMA Design was transferred to Rockstar, and the once small-time studio took on its current name of Rockstar North.
Look, Sonny, we were set up. The deal was an ambush.
During the shakeup, the newly christened development team began work on its next game, Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Tommy, buenas noches.
The game would retain the 3D world, engine, and gameplay of the wildly popular GTA 3, while kicking the production values up several notches.
We need to watch each other's back.
Instead of revolutionizing the series as Grand Theft Auto 3 did, Rockstar decided the next two titles in the series would simply build on everything that game had accomplished. In that vein, the team targeted a brand new city packed with more cars, guns, and excitement, while sticking to the basic blueprint of GTA 3.
Yes! One day, I'm gonna save your ass, and you're probably gonna want to kiss me.
If you can't wear a spandex jumpsuit, what can you do? This is The Rock.
Instead of a city loosely based on New York, the series would, for the first time, be heading to a fictionalization of Miami, Florida, as seen in shows like Miami Vice.
This whole damn country needs a kick in the ass, and we're the ones to deliver it.
Before Vice City's release, Rockstar assistant producer Jeremy Pope told IGN, "Vice City really delivers a level of intensity unlike anything I have ever felt before in a game." The team at Rockstar North have managed to create a world that is incredibly stylish, but so fiercely exciting that sometimes it feels hard to breathe. Vice City, with its short development cycle and nearly identical technology to Grand Theft Auto 3, was anything but a revolution. Still, where Rockstar held back in gameplay innovation, it more than made up for in world building. The Miami-like setting of the 1980s was rich and engrossing, packing more character and charm than any of its predecessors. The game's 80s-era cars, costumes, and soundtrack were a perfect fit for the over-the-top action and violence of the Grand Theft Auto series. Still, Vice City made a few notable improvements in gameplay.
Saturday morning, Friday's enemy.
Reviving GTA 2's emphasis on criminal organizations competing for your affections, the game saw that enemy gangs would harass the player on sight.
B.J. Smith, and you must be Mr. Vassetti.
But this time, Rockstar gave the player the opportunity to create his own empire, allowing the purchase of property and business to grow a vast underground money-making machine. The experience of building one's own criminal network immersed the player in Tommy Vercetti's story, as no GTA game had done before.
Tommy, hey Tommy, look at this. This is great. I've got us this minibar installed. We got a whole bar downstairs, Ken.
Despite the game's fast-track development, it was every bit as much a hit with critics as the game before it. Armchair Empire wrote, GTA Vice City certainly doesn't feel rushed. It's a marvelous game that improves on nearly every key aspect of the original. Gamers Hell was just as impressed, saying, it scores, perfect in all areas and is pure bliss to play. If you are old enough and you don't mind dark humor and 80s nostalgia, then this game is most definitely for you. Vice City went on to receive numerous Game of the Year awards for 2002.
You're Tommy Vassetti, but I thought that you were... That's right. We're gonna be making some changes around here and start making some real money.
Actually, have you ever thought about,
But first we're gonna need some good-looking broads.
Yeah, girls are fine, but you, wow.
What's that guy think this is? Some free art crap? Geez, like anyone ever watch movies about fish?
Vice City was an instant hit with gamers everywhere. It followed up GTA 3's landmark success by setting records of its own, becoming the best-selling video game of 2002, despite releasing late in the year. And looking back across all PlayStation 2 releases, it ranks up in the top 5 selling games ever made for the system. Vice City also inspired the PSP and PS2 prequel Vice City Stories, which brought a whole new cast of characters, improved gameplay, and even a multiplayer mode for the portable PlayStation console.
After 5 years on the East Coast, it was time to go home.
Coming off Vice City's unbelievable success, the GTA team decided that the next game in the series would be going in a different direction. Instead of focusing on a defined player character's linear plot, the third 3D GTA game would be designed to give the player as much freedom as possible. From a deep character customization system to a larger world, every aspect of the game was developed with the intent to give control back to the player. Before its release, Rockstar creative VP Dan Houser said of San Andreas, "It's about giving people that freedom of choice. It's still very much an action game, but there's a whole world out there to explore if you want to."
It seemed impossible to keep a secret around here. I would have thought the size of the room would keep the numbers down.
Hey, speak up! We can't hear you back here!
I appreciate your input, but please, fuck off!
What'd he say?
He said fuck off. Come on, let's get out of here.
Hey, what are you still doing here?
I live here.
Oh, okay, you can stay.
Great. Hey, where's the coffee and donuts?
I'm the Godfather.
Come on, Smoke, shoot! Hey,
I'm the Godfather.
San Andreas lived up to its design goals by expanding the series to something far larger than Vice City or GTA 3 had ever achieved. Rather than gradually granting the player to more and more sections of a single city, San Andreas instead depicted an entire sprawling state, including the cities of Los Santos, San Fierro, and Las Venturas. Rockstar's ambition paid off. The sprawling metropolis centers and massive countryside detailed a world far beyond anything the series had done to date. All this provided the backdrop to a whole new story following the series' first black protagonist, CJ, and his rise to fame and fortune.
All my exes live in Texas, and Texas is a place I dearly love to be. But all my exes live in Texas, and that's why I hang my hat in Tennessee.
Damn, man, now what?
Big!
What? What I do now?
Oh, so this is where you've been, eh? This is how you repay my tenderness? You prefer the curves of some car to those of a real woman?
Look, Catalina, you called it off, remember? Just business.
What kind of a man are you?
Though the gameplay stuck close to the formula set by the previous two games, San Andreas still had a few tricks up its sleeve. The game introduced RPG elements for the first time, allowing the player to exercise to increase strength or train in any number of skills to increase his proficiency. Players had to eat food at one of many fast food joints scattered throughout the 3 cities in order to maintain a healthy weight and stay fit, and clothes that affected others' opinions of CJ and the lines they would say.
I'm hungry!
Oh, man, shit. Hey,
Man
what's going
cannot
on?
live on bread alone. I know. I tried that shit. Carl, you look a little thin, man. You gotta be hungry, man.
Yeah,
man,
I
what
could
you
eat.
fools trying to eat?
That's
What about
wrong.
some tacos? Tacos again? Hell no. Chicken, man. No discussion. Man, I don't want no chicken.
Reviews for San Andreas were universally positive. Games Radar wrote, GTA San Andreas is possibly the most ambitious game ever attempted, but that doesn't make it great. What does make it great is that it actually delivers on nearly everything it promises while still being fun to just pick up and play. Electronic Gaming Monthly's reviewer said, I can't wrap my head around how much stuff is packed into this one disc. It's grand, it's ambitious, and funny, as this may sound. It's legendary. The game received numerous Game of the Year awards.
The glorious sound of a hole-in-one.
Great shot, boss.
What we need is to hit the Mafia Casino. Yeah, go jack the place.
Hey, hitting a casino isn't like gangbanging. It's a whole different league.
Yeah, you right. It'll take some planning, but I'm down. She always wanted to pull a heist. What the?
Ah, bad luck.
Welcome to San Andreas, I'm CJ from Grove Street. Land of the heinous, gangbangers in cold heat. In Los Santos, neighbors get no sleep. Beefing with anybody, competing, even police.
San Andreas couldn't have been a bigger triumph for Rockstar. With over 20 million copies sold on the PlayStation 2 alone, it's one of the best-selling games ever. And as the last main entry built on the aging renderware engine from GTA 3, it was the perfect final chapter for the PlayStation 2 era. The ambitious goals Rockstar had set for itself and the defining tenets of player freedom and exploration for the series were finally realized with San Andreas.
Jump out, busting, gun until they tuck their tail. It seemed like I'm on impossible missions. Twisted predicaments, hostile positions. Tenpenny and Pulaski harass me. Cop cars been on our ass the last.
While Grand Theft Auto 4 would return to a tighter city and a more story-based structure, Rockstar would revive both the city of Los Santos and a more open game world for Grand Theft Auto 5 8 years down the road. Still, to this day, the size and scope of San Andreas remain unmatched in any GTA experience.
Catch a straggler with the shotgun, hitting him up with that Grove Street lock and a dirty slingshot, no Levi.
In 2004, with the next generation of game consoles looming on the horizon, Rockstar began development on a full-fledged Grand Theft Auto title built on a new game engine called Rage.
Life is complicated. I killed people, smuggled people, sold people. Perhaps here, things will be different.
You're looking for some people.
We're all looking for that special someone.
Aiming to take advantage of the powerful Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 game consoles, as well as high-end gaming PCs, the game was designed to depict Liberty City with a level of detail that would have been impossible on older hardware.
Please, no more killing.
Gone were the subtle cartoon undertones of previous games' art direction. Instead, GTA 4 would introduce a grittier, more realistic city for players to explore. Despite San Andreas' monstrous sales and critical acclaim, Rockstar elected to scale back the size of the next GTA game, opting for a more focused and detailed approach.
Get this done, and we'll talk.
Daddy's back, you bitches!
Malayo!
Daddy's back, you bitches!
Dave, come on.
Come on! Nico, what are you doing?
Dave is not coming.
Ignore him! Come on, we gotta get this thing ready before we dock.
Let's go.
Here, pass me that.
Of the game's development, Rockstar art director Aaron Garbett told Eurogamer, "It's always a lot harder to get your head around the possibilities of a completely new system. With GTA 4, there was a lot of guesswork involved. We had to make things up as we went along."
What you going to do?
I might come back on board, or I might try to make a go of it. Like they say, it is the land of opportunity.
Despite the challenges involved in targeting all new hardware, the development team went for broke with the level of detail present in both the game world and the extensive cutscenes.
Welcome to America!
Bravo, Barazzaru! What? Good to see you, man. What? You forget our language?
Kapusi? Maybe a little. I've been here 10 years. You can speak English. Remember, we learned off the English girls with the big...
A little. I'm not so
He'll
good.
be fine. Better than my Serbian. So good to see you, cousin. I can't believe you made it.
In a lot of ways, GTA 4 was a return to GTA 3. Not only did the game draw players back in Liberty City, but it also brought back the focus on story and a tighter gameplay experience. With a brand new engine, Rockstar absolutely nailed the feel of a bustling urban environment, from the glitzy high-rent districts to the seedy underground of the crime world. Another element that instantly stood out was the improved physics engine. Cars were less floaty and behaved more as real cars would. Pedestrians responded to oncoming traffic in a much more lifelike manner, and gunplay was significantly improved.
I'm sorry, it's an ugly city.
Though Rockstar's signature humor was still readily evident throughout the game, protagonist Nico Bellic brought a more serious tone to the plot.
Where you come from? Sports cars, condos, women, money, the beach, opportunity. I come here, and the only thing big about your life is the cockroach.
His troubled past and cynical outlook grounded the otherwise outlandish gameplay and captured the hearts of gamers everywhere.
War is where the young and stupid are tricked by the old and bitter into killing each other. I was very young and very angry. Maybe that is no excuse. Roman? Roman! Are you sleeping, you fat fuck? Come on!
His trials were nicely wrapped up with a statement on whether the American dream can ever truly be achieved, spinning the usually comical series into a heart-wrenching exploration of American materialism and its downfall. In addition to the game's somber side, it brought with it a deep multiplayer mode, including classic deathmatch variations, racing, and co-op game types. The broad variety of options and modes made the multiplayer an instant classic. With the full return of online play to the franchise, it seemed Rockstar had fulfilled all the promises of the first game as technology caught up with the team's grandiose ideas.
What's up, money? Hey, Nico. Move up, ladies.
So, where are you taking me?
Reviewers were blown away by GTA 4. Game Informer awarded the game a perfect score and said, "I just want to drop everything in my life so I can play it again, experience it again, live it again." Grand Theft Auto 4 doesn't just raise the bar for the storied franchise, it completely changes the landscape of gaming. GameSpy also handed out a perfect score and said, "This is not only the finest title of the generation thus far, it is one of the best games of all time." When all was said and done, Grand Theft Auto 4 garnered over 40 Game of the Year awards.
It's them or us, cousin. What are you still doing here? Get out of my sight, or I'm good. Let him know. Mine is right. I told you to be calm, you halted the jump!
Welcome to America.
Grand Theft Auto 4 shattered sales records, selling over 3.5 million copies on its first day of availability alone. In its debut week on shelves, it raked in over $500 million for Rockstar and Take-Two.
So you in, big guy? Or we're gonna have to kill you.
Well, since you put it that way, I'm in.
To support the release of GTA 4, Rockstar offered several pieces of downloadable content packs to the game. The Lost and Damned and The Ballad of Gay Tony. Both packs were extremely well received, adding original and complex storylines to the base GTA 4 game. On the handheld front, the spin-off Chinatown Wars for Nintendo DS, PSP, and iOS brought players back to the GTA 4 version of Liberty City once again.
He is not staying the night! He's a bum!
You know, I've been in this game for a lot of years, and I got out alive.
As a succession of tantalizing rumors suggested the next full Grand Theft Auto game was well underway at Rockstar, the company finally pulled back the curtain on Grand Theft Auto 5 in November of 2011, with a full in-game trailer that showed off the remastered high-definition streets of Los Santos.
That magic. You see it in the movies. I wanted to retire from what I was doing, you know? From that line of work. Be a good guy for once.
That's right. The new game will mark a triumphant return to the Los Angeles-based city from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, this time in the present day. Though the new game won't include San Fierro or Las Venturas, it promises to pack tons more detail and an enhanced multiplayer mode for limitless enjoyment.
Son, but, well, you know how it is.
Rockstar claims GTA 5 will represent a bold new direction in open-world freedom, storytelling, mission-based gameplay. As soon as the trailer premiered, analysts swarmed in with their estimates, universally optimistic over GTA 5's chances at becoming the next big thing in gaming.
They ain't going!
In fact, one research group concluded that the much-anticipated entry will, along with the next Call of Duty game, account for close to 25% of all game sales for the entire year.
Beach House is? That house right there, with the yellow stairs.
Other analysts' estimates range from 20 to 25 million units for the first year of sales. Whoever's numbers you decide to go by, Grand Theft Auto 5 is a surefire hit.
Your son, James. He's a good kid.
Oh my God! Hey, let's bounce. Bounce. We're bouncing now.
It's getting ready to blow! It's getting ready to show! Somebody shut up at the mountain! We're getting ready to know! It's getting ready to cry! It's getting ready to shock! Somebody turn up the heat! It's getting ready to pop!
That's Trevor, my best friend. That's Franklin, the son I always wanted.
Yeah, whatever.
Jesus, your therapist has a lot to answer for.
It's getting ready to blow! It's getting ready to show! Somebody shut up at the mountain!
Whatever course Take-Two and Rockstar guide the series into with GTA 5 and beyond, it's undeniable that the games have changed the course of the entertainment industry forever. With over 114 million units sold in the series, Grand Theft Auto is a multimedia giant that won't be going anywhere anytime soon. From its humble roots as a controversial PC action game to its various console and handheld spin-offs and sequels, GTA has provided countless hours of fun to gamers the world over. And perhaps most importantly, it's constantly reminded the rest of the gaming world of the value of giving freedom back to the player. VGM blows the dust off another stinking movie tie-in game for your viewing pleasure. Watching it is funny. Playing it feels like a crane kick to the face. VGM Retro Review Karate Kid, Wednesday, April 24th, here on GamerSpawn.